You make their questions sound so ridiculous. Love it. Yeah, I'm not going to miss my mother or feel guilty foregoing no contact. I'd love to hear more about how you deal with people trying to gaslight you. Family members that say, oh, you misunderstood or you're remembering it wrong, for example. Sometimes it can be so subtle. When somebody says to me, I mean, I haven't been in contact with any of these people for 3 decades, but there were moments in time, you're remembering it wrong. I think a really good response to that is, well, tell me what I'm remembering wrong. Tell me the facts. Tell me what happened. They won't be able to do that. They'll say it didn't happen that way. No. Give me tangible. I'm open. I'm listening. Really, tell me what happened. Tell me from your perspective what my experience was. I'm really, really interested in knowing what you mean. The same applies to you misunderstood. What did I misunderstand? Well, you just, they didn't mean it that way. How do you know how they meant it? Were you in their head? Did you read their mind? Ask questions, ask questions, ask questions, ask questions. That's how you don't allow these people to gaslight you and hijack you into going on the defensive. That doesn't mean that they're not going to hold the lie and try to gaslight you. It just means that you're not going to be in a position of defense. And when they push you and when they go, oh, but she's your mother or she loved you in her own way. That's my personal favorite, I think, or at least these days. She loved you in her own way. What do you mean? Well, she just did. Well, no, I don't understand. What do you mean? She was calling me damaged goods and tramp. She dropped me out of a 2-story window. Can you explain to me how that's love or loved in her own? Explain to me what she was trying to do. Was she trying to teach me to be a better person? And that was her loving way of doing it? What do you mean? Again, back to the questions. But she's your mother. Well, I was her daughter. And deadpan. Nothing. No emotion. That's the only thing that you can do with people like that if you're going to remain in connection to them. You give them no emotion and lots of questions. You turn it around on them so that they have to in some way take accountability for their words. And if they don't, well, at least they didn't hijack you into going on the defensive for something that you shouldn't have to defend, which is your own feelings, your own safety, knowing your own experience, right? That's really, really important. The less we need external validation, I'm not saying that you need external validation, the less we need it, the less these types of people or these types of statements can impact us. Because we stand strong in what we know to be true and we don't doubt our own experience. Or how about, well, was it really that bad? How bad does it have to be? What does that bad even mean? It's bad or it's good? No? Or it's bad or it's not? No? I don't know. Asking questions. What's another one? Because there's so many of these things that come to mind. Oh, okay. My personal best, I think. Why is it so important for me to be in a relationship with someone who I find harmful? Why is that so important to you? Well, she loves you in her own way. Okay, but that wasn't the question. I hope you get the gist. I'm sure that you do, actually. And I'm not being snarky, sparky with you, obviously. I really appreciate the question, the opportunity to talk about this, because this is something that a lot of us who go through these situations face from all different people, not just from other family members. I don't have family members. I have relatives on my mother's side. Also from just people in general. I remember there's this one time I was sitting at a dinner table with my babysitter, who I've known since she's known me since the day I was born, and she was 10 years old at the time. And we reconnected a few years back, which was really great for me because I really didn't have anyone in my life who's known me since the day that I was born that could tell me stories about what I was like and things that they witnessed and all that. And by the way, she witnessed the fact that my mother didn't feed me, changed me, left me for hours on end in a crib. And her and her mother would check on me after school, and my half brother, who, well, he's not my brother, he's my mother's son, golden child, they would come and check on us. And so she was really able to fill in a lot of the blanks, right? And she is a great defender of mine, who I appreciate very, very much. Anyway, I'm at dinner with her and at her house, and this man who's there, I think it was her boyfriend at the time. Yes, it was her boyfriend at the time. He's not in the picture anymore, I don't think. Anywho, very accomplished, smart man, seemingly a doctor. I say it that way because when I share with you what he's going to say to me, it kind of tracks with, you know, how oftentimes narcissism, I'm not saying he's a narcissist, by the way. I am also not qualified to tell anybody or diagnose anybody. Like, I wouldn't do it because I'm not qualified to do it. And obviously, this is just somebody I was sitting at dinner with. And we end up in a conversation around my mother and how I haven't spoken to her in 3 decades. And he's like, but it's your mother. You really should talk to her. Like, how can you do that to her? And at that time, I mean, this is before I wrote my book. So this is like 15 years ago. I didn't know what to say. I felt obviously very judged for being the bad daughter, even though I wasn't carrying guilt at that time, even though I knew I was in the right in the decision that I made, even though I knew I broke the cycles of abuse. I knew all these things, right? And in the face of that, I felt about this big. And I had to kind of stop for a minute because I felt like I was freezing and going into fawn, which is my mechanism. And then my babysitter, her name's Donna, I can share her name because she's in my book. She looked at him and she said, do you know what that woman did to her? And completely defended me, which was beautiful because I haven't had the experience of a lot of people defending me in the face of that. So it was a very difficult moment. And the reason I share this with you is because I also recognize that while I'm bouncing around, ask questions and external validation, internal validation, and all of that, I want to recognize for you that it is a process and it does take time and it does take practice. If I was in connection to that gentleman, that man today, he would never be able to finish that sentence the way that he did with me. And I would turn it around and ask him questions. I don't have regrets. I don't keep it in my head. It's not on repeat. I don't give myself a hard time for when I'm unable to show up for myself. I just let little Marnie know we're going to do better next time. I take very good care of myself, and I'm not about making myself feel bad for a mechanism that I didn't ask for or develop. So anyway, thank you so much for the question, for the topic, and for being here. I very, very, very much appreciate you. Anybody else have something that you would like me to feature and talk about? Drop it in the comment section. You want to share your experience in relationship to this? That also helps us. We are healing and growing together.